Oh my goodness me, there's been a bit of concern and I think confusion over what's been happening with the Keezer build. So I'm going to address some of the comments that we had. I thought I'm better off explaining it instead of my main concern is not having enough room in here at the minute. Get out of work. In a nutshell, the consensus of concern was around two parts. The STC, which I share some of the concerns, and the heater. Let's kick off with the STC. So the STC is fixed to the collar. If you haven't seen the part 2 of the Keezer build, then go and watch it after this and you'll know what I'm on about. But basically the wiring, the back end of the STC is inside the Keezer, and a lot of people are showing a bit of concern about moisture and condensation around the back of the STC where the wires are going in. I must say that it was on my mind, but I knew I wanted the STC in the collar. I just wanted it all together. So I had been putting some things together, thinking of a way of limiting the problems a little bit, and I've come up with this. I built a little shroud, a little box. This is shower wall, so it won't swell up due to moisture or anything like that. All the joints are sealed, 100% sealed, glued, and what I've done is I've drilled a hole in the bottom. So I'm going to feed the wires up to the STC, pull the wires out of the back of the box and pull the STC out of the collar. I'm going to wire up the STC and then feed everything back into this box, and this box is then going to be glued to the collar and sealed. So that should help with the concerns that some of you have aired and some of the concerns which I've had. So the STC won't be seen from inside the Keezer. You're going to have the face on the collar here, and then this is going to be stuck to it. And if the STC goes kaput and I need to change it for any reason, I haven't fixed the STC into the collar. It's a tight enough fit that it doesn't need fixing. Can't see the advantage of having it fixed to the collar. You push in on the buttons, which is pushing it in, and it won't go in. It will only come out. So if the STC gets kaputted, then I can just feed the wires up through this hole as I'm pulling it out of the collar, rewire the new one, slide everything back in. That's the plan with the STC. So now on to why is he fitting a heater into the Keezer? The confusion's come about because why would anyone fit a heat source into a contraption that's designed to chill beer? But there's a very good reason why I've decided to fit a heater, and that is because the Keezer is not living in the house where ambient temperatures throughout the winter is going to be what, 16, 17 degrees. It's stopping in the shed. So in the summer, no issues. The heating element won't be on at all because it'll be a nice ambient 20 degrees or so in the middle of the summer in this shed. So the probe will pick up that it's warming up and it will kick the freezer on. The problem, however, with me keeping the Keezer in here, which essentially is just a single brick, uninsulated shed, is that it'll be fine through the summer months, but once we start hitting November, December, January, February, the temperatures in here drop dramatically, and that's one of the main problems I had with the setup that I've got now, the fridge. The controller that controls whether the fridge is on or off only does one thing. It just turns the fridge on and off. It doesn't do heating. Summer was fine. Winter, if we had 2 or 3 weeks where the temperature dropped to like 1 degree, 2 degrees, it wasn't long before the ambient temperature was the same as inside the fridge, which meant the beer was too cold. So that's why I'm fitting the heater in there. It's during the winter months where it's freezing cold in here. After a couple of days of it being freezing cold in here, that temperature in the Keezer is going to match the ambient temperature, and it'll be too cold. I want to keep it at a perfect beer serving temperature of my choosing, which is probably going to be about 8 degrees or something like that. So obviously if we're dropping temps in here in the winter, that heater's going to kick on and maintain steady temperature come summer or winter. So that's why we're going to be fitting the heater in there. And I'm going to be putting some fans as well, same as what I've got in the fermentation fridge, to just blow everything about so we don't get like a hot spot or anything. So it'll keep a nice steady temperature. But that's why I'm keeping a heater in the freezer, turning in a Keezer for the beezer. And that's it. I hope it clears up some questions which were asked in the last video. If you haven't watched that, by the way, go and check it out after this. We're going to just finish off with this. The 3/8 beer line arrived. So we are now ready to start stripping things down at the weekend, fitting the STC shroud, getting everything somewhat plumbed up. I'm still after some, I think they call them Oediker clamps, which is the clamp that goes around the tube, and it sort of does a 360 seal. I think Oediker is the brand, but they do. I've seen some O-rings which have 2 tabs on either side, but I think the Oediker ones seal 360. So I'm having trouble finding them in the size I want. I want about 10mm, something like that. So if anyone's watching this and has used them before, then please point me in the right direction, because I'm hoping to get some of the stuff here come the weekend so I can crack on with another video. So as always guys, don't forget to thumbs video because you don't want to do. Don't forget to hit this little like on here, subscribe, click it, you won't miss out what's coming up next. Share the video, get it on the wall. To see you until next time. I'm out of here.